Welcome back, everyone, and buckle up because what I'm about to tell you is sending shockwaves through the NFL universe, Cowboys Nation, and every corner of social media tonight as the Dallas Cowboys make one of the most unexpected, eyebrow-raising, headline-dominating moves of the entire season with Shilo Sanders, yes, the outspoken, hard-hitting son of Hall of Famer Deion "Primetime" Sanders officially stepping into the star-studded spotlight of Dallas and bringing a tidal wave of energy, swagger, controversy, and possibility with him as this news explodes across the sports world faster than anyone can process. The moment this announcement hit the grid, fans began flooding Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and every sports forum imaginable with pure shock, excitement, and wild speculation about what this means for the Cowboys' defense, locker room chemistry, and the organization's long-term future as they tried to climb out of the storm of criticism, inconsistency, and playoff heartbreak that has defined recent seasons. You could feel the electricity in the air the moment Shilo stepped off the plane wearing his signature confident grin, shades on, and that unmistakable Colorado Buffalo turned prime family presence, and suddenly Dallas felt like it had a new pulse, a new attitude, and a new spark of possibility heading into the next chapter of its NFL journey. People who have watched Shilo Sanders grow over the last few years know that regardless of what anyone says about the hype surrounding the Sanders family, this young man has straight-up grit, intensity, heart, and a willingness to put his body on the line every single play, which is exactly what the Cowboys have been desperately lacking in key defensive moments. When you look at the Cowboys' recent performance, the breakdown in crucial games, the inability to maintain momentum when everything is on the line, and the lack of that intimidating, punishing defensive presence that makes opposing offenses tremble, Shilo's arrival suddenly feels less like a gamble and more like a strategic injection of energy that has the potential to redefine the Cowboys' defensive identity moving forward. Analysts have already begun debating whether Shilo will start immediately, whether he'll contribute on special teams, or whether this move is more about culture and locker room fire than immediate on-field change. But no matter where he lines up, the energy he brings is undeniable, and the ripple effect throughout the organization has already begun. And of course, you cannot talk about the Sanders name without acknowledging the gravitational force of Deion Sanders himself, a legend whose DNA is woven into NFL history and Cowboys' legacy, which makes this situation even more electrifying because now you have the son of primetime stepping into the same city where his father became an icon. Cowboys fans, especially the older generation, are looking at this as a possible symbolic passing of the torch not in skill, not in legacy, but in spirit, the spirit of confidence, flair, charisma, and that unstoppable belief that you can shift the trajectory of an entire franchise with the right mindset. You can feel that old prime-time energy rumbling through the city once again, and people are already imagining what training camp is going to look like with Shilo walking in, teammates sizing him up, coaches watching closely, and the media circling for every soundbite they can capture because Shilo is not just a player, he's a personality, a brand, a public figure shaped by one of the most talked about football families in modern sports. But let's talk about the football aspect because while Shilo's charisma attracts attention, his on-field game is where Cowboys fans are hoping he delivers the spark. Shilo is known for his physicality, his willingness to crash into a play with raw force, and his fearless tackling style that sometimes gets him both praise and criticism in equal measure. He plays with emotion, with intensity, with a kind of instinctive aggression that opposing offenses have to account for, and that type of defender can shift momentum in fast-paced NFL games. The Cowboys secondary, which has shown flashes of greatness but has also struggled with consistency, could use a player who brings that kind of controlled chaos, someone who flies across the field, lights up receivers, and forces quarterbacks to hesitate for that half second that changes the outcome of a play. Coaches and scouts have long said that Shilo's football IQ has evolved significantly over the last 2 years, and that might be the most underrated part of what he brings to Dallas because this is no longer just a loud, confident college kid with swagger. This is a player who has learned through tough losses, injuries, and real competition what it means to fight for every inch on the field. The pressure, however, is enormous, and Shilo knows it because stepping into Dallas is not like stepping into any other NFL city. This is the Dallas Cowboys. We're talking about the most watched, most debated, most scrutinized franchise in American sports. Every move is magnified, every mistake is amplified, every quote becomes a headline, and every rookie, veteran, or newcomer is expected to handle a level of fame, criticism, and expectation that not every athlete is prepared for. The moment Shilo walked into Dallas, his name instantly became a trending topic, and reporters from all over the country scrambled for details, trying to figure out whether this move had been in the works for months or was a sudden strategic decision made in response to the Cowboys' ongoing concerns about defensive depth. People inside the organization say this move is part of a larger restructuring plan, a push to introduce younger, hungrier, more energetic players into the lineup to create internal competition, boost morale, and push veterans to elevate their game. Inside the locker room, reactions are mixed but overwhelmingly curious. Some players are excited to see what Shilo brings, knowing that bloodlines like his don't come around every day, and the confidence he carries can be contagious when channeled properly. Others understand that the spotlight he brings could create distractions, and it will take strong leadership from coaches and veteran players to manage expectations, maintain focus, and ensure that the team doesn't become a media circus. But if there's one thing the Cowboys have learned over the years, it's that this franchise lives in the spotlight whether they want it or not, so bringing in someone who knows how to handle attention might be exactly what they need. And make no mistake, Shilo knows how to handle attention. He was raised in the world of cameras, microphones, press conferences, and public scrutiny, and that makes him uniquely prepared for the Dallas environment where pressure is not just expected but demanded. The fanbase reaction has been explosive. Cowboys Nation is fired up, the Sanders fanbase is cheering, Colorado fans are emotional, and the NFL world is buzzing because this move has all the ingredients of a blockbuster storyline: the famous family angle, the legacy connection, the potential for redemption, the possibility of transformation, and the unpredictability that comes with a young player entering the biggest spotlight of his career. Social media posts show fans already photoshopping Shilo in Cowboys gear, speculation about whether Deion will attend games in Dallas, and endless discussion about how this move could influence recruitment, marketing, and the Cowboys' overall visibility across the sports entertainment landscape. Sports talk radio has already dedicated full segments to debating whether this is a smart move, a risky gamble, or a brilliant long-term strategy that other teams will envy in hindsight. There's also the emotional angle that cannot be ignored: Shilo's personal journey. He has dealt with injuries, setbacks, criticism, and people constantly comparing him to his father, which is a nearly impossible standard to live up to. Coming to Dallas represents not just an opportunity to shine but also a chance to step out of that shadow and build his own identity within the NFL. He's made it clear in interviews that he wants to prove himself, earn his spot, and silence doubters, and Dallas offers the perfect stage for that kind of personal and professional evolution. If he channels that hunger, that desire, that determination, he could become a key figure in the Cowboys' defensive development, and the emotional depth of that story might be something fans connect with dramatically. And now the big question: what happens next? Training camp, preseason, roster shifts, competition for starting spots, everything becomes more intense with Shilo in the mix. Coaches will be watching his footwork, discipline, game awareness, and communication on the field. Teammates will test him, challenge him, and see if he's ready to earn their respect not just through personality but through performance. The media will follow his every move from warm-ups to press conferences, waiting for quotes, reactions, and moments that shape the narrative. Fans will analyze every highlight, every tackle, every play, wondering how this all leads toward the Cowboys' ultimate goal: breaking the cycle of playoff disappointment and returning to championship form. So, as this bombshell news spreads across the NFL world, one thing is crystal clear: the Dallas Cowboys have just changed the tone of their season, the vibe of their locker room, and the conversation surrounding their future with this electrifying addition. And now all eyes are on Shilo Sanders as he begins what could be the most defining journey of his career. If he steps up, owns the moment, and brings that prime-time energy to Dallas in his own unique way, this move could become one of the most talked about and transformative stories in Cowboys history. If you're fired up about this stunning development, make sure you hit the like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more breaking updates as this story continues to unfold.